What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with an unboxing video. I just got back some expedited items from Collector Archive Services. One of them you've sort of seen already. The other one you have not. It's a very, very rare bootleg that I am extremely excited to show you guys. I'm going to do it a little bit differently today. Instead of like taking it all out and blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to do it all live with you. I have not opened them yet to make sure that they're in good shape, but I assume they are. But it's just two of them, but they were expedited because one of them is super rare. And so I am going to go ahead and get these out of here. So here they are. And I got my trusted scissors here. So I'm going to go ahead and get these open, and we'll take a closer look at it. I think what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you guys, I'm going to take them out of the poly bags while you are entertained by Luke and Darth Vader talking about their father-son relationship as Grand Admiral Thrawn acts as their psychiatrist. The first one I'm going to show you is one that you've already seen, sort of. And what I mean by that is that from my big, from two unboxing videos ago, I showed you a Leia Bausch, Lili Ledy. But I accidentally sent in the wrong figure. And I was kind of embarrassed about it, but I'm glad that I was able to make fun of myself, in the video. But I did finally get this one back as part, I went ahead and asked them to recase it with the correct figure. And the interesting thing is, what's really funny is that I had one that my buddy gave me, a correct Lili Ledy figure. It was not in great shape. It was okay shape. It's probably like a 75-ish kind of figure. And so I was gonna send in this this figure with the overstock helmet and the correct accessories. And right before I did, a Lili Ledy Leia came up on eBay that was incomplete. It had accessories, but they were the incorrect accessories. But the figure itself was mint. So it worked out great. It was $40, so I went ahead and bought that one. And the interesting thing is that this is a different version of the Lili Ledy Bausch. This is the light brown chocolate version that's a lot harder to find. So, and this one, for whatever reason, I did some research on it with the Ledy guys. This one is the most common figure to get with the overstock helmet, originally. So it worked out perfectly that I was able to get this figure. And he came back with a fantastic score. She came back with a fantastic score. 1983 Lili Ledy Star Wars Princess Leia Bausch Disguise Light Brown. And it came back with an 85+. So I've got the correct figure with the overstock helmet and then the staff. And this is the light brown version of her. The normal version is closer to this one right here. So you can see that this is the I believe the No COO. Let me double check. No, this is the Hong Kong. I'm sorry. Yeah, because all the Ledys have a Hong Kong date stamp. So but the copyright, the C in the copyright on the leg is larger than the small copyright for the Hong Kong. I found this out the hard way, folks. Okay, I sent in the wrong figure. But anyway, most of them are this color right here. So so you can see it's a light brown version. But anyway, I'm super happy. I got a 90+ Hong Kong. I've got the 85+ Lili Ledy. And then I think I've got, what is this one? This is the 85 grade No COO. So I'm missing a Taiwan right now to have a pseudo complete set. There's obviously variants within each country of origin. But those are my three Ledy, those are my three Bausches now. But I'm really happy to have this Bausch back and complete and such a high score instead of getting the 75 that I was expecting. So just lucky timing. I'm glad I waited a couple days before I sent it in. Okay, now for the big boy, folks. This is the mother of all bootlegs. I hope that you'll enjoy seeing it. But this is a Russian bootleg AT-AT driver. It's silver. And these started coming out in the 1990s up until, early 2000s. It's made by a Russian bootleg company called Oritet. Oritet had only a certain number of figures that they made. They made Bossk, Vader, Yoda, Chewbacca, and this AT-AT driver. I think those are the only 5 that I can think of that they made. These Oritets were these AT-AT drivers were the first ones made by Oritet. So they did not, these Oritet started in kind of the mid-1990s. They are all of their figures are based on the Power of the Force 2 molds. This was their first figure that they came out with. They started doing these in the 1990s, and all the research I saw said that they made them up until the Oritet's closure in 2003. Now, let's go into the rarity of this figure, okay? The figure itself is not that rare. You can still find loose examples of this figure without the gun on eBay or elsewhere for relatively inexpensive. I've seen them. I had two of these. I bought one for $50 shipped from a guy in Russia. I since traded that one for that 9 mailer that you guys saw in a recent video. But anyway, what makes this one rare is the weapon. I've got some really good friends in the bootleg community now, and according to them, I've spoke with several, but there's differing quotes as to how many complete examples of this figure are remaining out there. I've heard as low as 8. I've heard as high as 12 to 15, somewhere in there. I tend to lean towards the higher number, but these are super rare. This is Collector Archive Services' first one that they've ever graded. AFA has only graded 2 complete examples. There's an AFA 85 Plus for sale right now on eBay from a friend of mine. He has it listed at $2,300. So that gives you an idea of how rare these things are. But the figures themselves, usually I'd say $75 to $150 depending on condition. You can find these Oritet AT-AT drivers without the weapon. What makes this rare is the weapon, because there literally are not that many of them out there. I won't go into the long story of it, but I can tell you that I lucked into this figure. I was buying something else from a gentleman in Russia who actually used to work at the Oritet factory. I tracked him down doing a lot of research, finding some old posts from 10 plus years ago, and I was buying something else, and then at the very end of our conversation on Facebook, he said, by the way, I have this Oritet figure, this AT-AT driver, complete. Do you want him? And my ears perked up because I know how rare this weapon is, but I assumed he was going to come out with some ridiculous price. But he did not. He came back with a price that was well below where they've been selling. These with the weapon, ungraded, depending on condition, sell for $650 to $1,100 minimum, just depending on condition and things like that. But and how badly the seller wants to get rid of it. But he quoted me a price about half that, and so I pulled the trigger on it. I still wasn't sure if it was legit or not because I didn't know him that well. But I know that he worked at the Oritet factory. So my gut says that he was probably telling me the truth, and I'm glad I pulled the trigger. I got it verified by 2 different independent sources who are experts on these Oritets. And so I went ahead and sent this in for expedited graded because I did not want to have this sitting in a warehouse for 6 months while I worried about it. So I got this one back. As I said, there's 2 of them that are AFA graded, one of them that are complete. One of them is an AFA 80, one of them is an AFA 85 Plus that's for sale on eBay right now. And then here's mine. It came back with a 90 plus. So pretty amazing. Going back to our discussion about grading companies and scores, I think that if this was graded by AFA, it would probably come back with an 85 plus. CAS comes back a little bit high. But still, when I saw this figure graded and I saw the score that it got, I was absolutely ecstatic. These figures are known for really, really bad sonic welding. They fall apart super easy. I was amazed that it got here from Russia and then to CAS in one piece, but they are super, super fragile. And so I was not expecting a high grade. I mean, I knew it was in excellent condition, but I was not expecting a 90 plus though. Just because the sonic welding process at Oritet was not that great for most of these figures. But just an awesome example. Here's a close-up of its weapon. It's kind of a weird look. It kind of looks like a water gun to me. It's just kind of goofy looking. But as I said, this AT-AT driver is based on the Power of the Force 2 molds. So if you go up and look at a Power of the Force 2 figure from Kenner from the mid-1990s, this is based on that. It's very, very similar. All the other figures in their line are very muscular, but this is just amazing. I cannot believe the score that it got. a 90 plus. You know, like I said, I still think that if AFA had graded this, it would come back with an 85 plus. But you know, they just are really hesitant to grade bootlegs right now. They do them, but it's a real pain in the butt, and the process is very lengthy and very expensive. Not that I didn't spend a lot of money getting expedited grading at CAS, but this was authenticated by them as well as by two experts in the bootleg community that I trust and know very well, that know Oratets inside and out, and they both verified that it's what it is. So, pretty amazing figure. I'm just in awe that I was able to get one of these. I never thought I'd own a complete one of these because they're just, you know, like I said, I'd say if I had to throw a round number out, I bet there's 12 to 15 of these out there that are complete in the world. And to have one at such a high grade is just, it's pretty mind-blowing to me and humbling, really. I mean, I wish I had words for how excited I am for this figure, but it's just really unbelievable. I just can't believe I got it. So anyway, I'm sorry to gush on about it, but I could not believe that I got this thing. And you know, most people don't really care about these, but I can tell you that these Oratets are extremely rare. They're just not very high demand figures since they're based on the Power of the Force 2 molds. But I've got one other one. I've got two other ones. I got one that I have that I've not sent off for grading yet that I'm not going to share yet because it's so fragile that I want to show it to you once it's all encased. I'm going to send it off for grading. But I've got another one on the way that is another Oratet figure that is only the second one ever found. Period. Like, there's only two of them out there. My buddy has one and I have the other one. So I'll probably get that one expedited as well, just given its rarity. But, you know, like I said, most people don't particularly care about these bootlegs because they were made in the 1990s up until their closure in 2003. For whatever reason, CAS and AFA both use 2003 Oratet Limited as the date. 2003 is when Oratet really went out of business and stopped producing figures. Their first, like I said, their first line were these, and they really weren't producing these in the 2000s. Most of these, I'd say 99% of them, were produced in the 1990s. The molds, the original engineering molds for these were later. I've done a bunch of research on this, guys. I'm sorry if I'm boring you, but I got to share it with somebody. All right, you guys are like my therapy session, as I've said before. But anyway, when Oratet went out of business, they sold the original factory molds and all this, you know, factory equipment, and they re-released these figures with thinner arms and kind of rougher features and thinner legs, because they basically just took the mold from the original Oratets and started making some more of them for another couple of years. Those are also still very collectible, but they're much rougher because they're kind of like second-hand molds instead of the original molds like this one. Those tend to also go for a pretty good amount of money. Sometimes they go for more than the originals because they were only produced for a couple of years. But anyway, you know, it says 2003 on the label, but this is really a 1990s bootleg from Oratet. But, you know, their second run of figures kind of started in the 2000s. That included like a Pink Bosk, a Yoda, Chewbacca, Darth Vader, and I think that's it. I think there's those four. And then this is their first figure. So, but just an awesome, awesome figure. I'm super excited about it. I'll shut up now. But let me know if you have any questions. But, you know, it was just a crazy story how I just lucked into this figure. And believe it or not, I'm so stupid, I almost didn't buy it. And I was like, I don't know if I want to spend that money right now. And then I came to my senses. I was like, you're never going to have another chance to own a complete one of these. You know, there's collectors out there that are, you know, bootleg collectors out there that are dying for a complete one of these. And, you know, and like I mentioned, there's one for sale right now that's complete that has not sold yet, but it does have a lot of watchers at $2,300, an AFA 85 plus. So, you know, looking back at it, I was just crazy to even think to not buy this, saying, you know, sometimes these opportunities just only come around once every so often. So very excited to have it, and I hope you enjoyed seeing it. Thanks for watching.